Good evening, Source Nation, and welcome to Healthy Living. I am your host, Kathy B, and we are here with Dr. Julissa, and you're watching us live right here on SRN Live Television. Now, tonight is going to be a great conversation, a conversation that is very timely. We have some emails that have come in, Source Nation, and tonight's discussion is going to be all about kidneys. Well, you guys know that Dr. Julissa is here in the studio with us. We're going to take a moment to have her come in and introduce herself, and then we'll jump right on into tonight's show. Dr. Julissa, hello and welcome to Healthy Living. How are you this evening?
I'm feeling divine, my lovely friend. Thank you so much for having me once again.
Awesome. If you will, Dr. Julissa, you know that our show grows each and every week, and I want to thank you for that. But we have brand new family members that are watching us live right here on SRN Live Television. If you could take a moment to introduce yourself, that would be great.
Wonderful. Thank you once again. Hello, Source family, SRN Live Television family. My name is Dr. Julissa Hernandez. I'm a board-certified naturopathic doctor, practicing now for over 23 years. I'm an international speaker of natural medicine, teacher of natural medicine as well, public figure and radio and television personality. Honored to be here with all of you to help you in your health journeys. Thank you again, Kathy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Julissa, for coming in tonight and definitely going to speak with us on a timely subject. Source Nation, we received a letter over the past week, and I wanted to speak with Dr. Julissa tonight, as well as share this information with you. Dr. Julissa, if you don't mind, I would like to read the letter to you, and then we can jump into the conversation from there. Is that okay?
Please, yes, wonderful.
Okay, thank you. And it reads, hello, Dr. Julissa. I received a kidney transplant in 2006. My A1C is low, but my glucose is always high. It's around 137. I take metformin, which lowers the A1C, but doesn't seem to do anything for my glucose level. I am a healthy eater 98% of the time. I indulge in cookies and chips sometimes. No fried foods or chicken, but I do eat beef 3 times a week. I am a big broccoli fan. Is there anything that I can do to lower my glucose level? I have been prescribed Prograf and Cellcept due to my kidney transplant. What are your thoughts on that? And again, thank you so much to our Source Nation family member sending in the letter. Talk to us a little bit about that, Dr. Julissa, if you will.
Okay. I'll begin with the fact that she received a kidney transplant in 2006.
Okay.
When we look at the body through the eyes of the Chinese, with regards to Chinese medicine, everyone, you have to somewhat unlearn a little bit what you already know about your bodies when I start to discuss things as far as Chinese medicine and really look at how everything in the body is interconnected like an umbrella. If we look at what Chinese medicine teaches us, there is an emotional root cause that is very much related to kidney challenges, and that would be fear.
Okay.
So my first consideration is to the fact that just because she did receive a kidney transplant doesn't mean that obviously that emotional root cause has been corrected. If she was holding on to fear, that is definitely something that weakened the kidney in the first place to get to the point where she then needed a transplant. Now, holistic medicine teaches us that along with fear, it is unresolved forgiveness.
Okay.
That tend to affect also the kidney. My curiosity again then would be right or left. Would it have been the right kidney that she had transplanted, the left kidney, right being that most likely it was unresolved forgiveness and fear with regards to male figures, financial matters, business relationships, educational matters, career matters, or work issues. And if it was the left kidney that was transplanted, then I have a hunch that most likely it was fear and unresolved forgiveness challenges with regards to female figures and emotional love and family relationships. Having said that, everything in the body, knowing that it is interconnected, did she become a diabetic after this kidney transplant is my next curiosity. If so, then we must then look at what could have been the emotional root cause that turned on that pancreatic problem. The metformin's not working to correct her glucose levels.
Mm-hmm.
So my work will always go to what possibly could have been that emotional root cause that, like a light switch, turned on
Right.
in the pancreas. What is that emotion? Grief.
Mm.
And the feeling that something or someone is missing from her life, that she feels that something is lacking, and that she feels a loss. Okay, she's grieving in some way, and that would be, for all of you listening out there, I would have a hunch just about 99.9% of all diabetics. And let's take that into consideration. So having understood that, even if I were to recommend, which I will, supplementation that will help to balance those glucose levels.
Mm-hmm.
I say always leave your bodies to me. That's my job. It is my duty to know what we need to feed that body so it can heal itself. But dear fan, I'm going to need your help with the emotional part. So recognizing why you're maybe grieving, what grief could have turned on that challenge there in that pancreas. We would begin there. And then as far as supplementation, just so you know, whatever I may recommend here does not have to be a concern with regards to clashing with your medication. You're on the Prograf, you're on the Cellcept, you're on the metformin, and you don't need to stop those medications to take on, for example, a wonderful supplement that I love to incorporate with my patients, and I'll share that after the show as well, a link to an article on diabetes, one called GTF chromium. Now, please don't confuse this type of chromium with, for example, chromium picolinate, which many patients or people utilize for weight loss and think that it is also something that would be good for controlling glucose. It does help, but I love to use a GTF chromium, which is a glucose tolerance factor type of chromium. And again, I'll share that towards the end of the show. And you can use that as a supplementation to the medication that you're taking. Next, I would most definitely consider strengthening the other kidneys. And so just to make sure that nothing else tends to break down because the kidneys are the life clock of the body. So that's where we would begin, dear listener. You would have to look within to find out where the grief came from that turned on the issues with the pancreas, and then we strengthen from there.
Great information. Now I want to go back, Dr. Julissa, because you mentioned several different things here as a scenario as to why the kidneys may be the way that they are. You talked about emotion. Let's go a little bit deeper so the Source Nation family can understand that and how this can affect your body in various ways. Can you share that with us?
Absolutely. So what I truly love so much about, for example, Chinese medicine, again, it's over 5,000 years old, so who are we to argue it, is that that type of herbal medicine very much focuses on balancing the emotion and the physical. How is it that our emotions affect our body physically? The best example that I can give you, think of how when a person gets frightened, they may sweat profusely and maybe even urinate on themselves. So the emotion came first and the physical reaction came later. That's the correlation I want you all to have in your minds when I discuss, for example, emotions and how they affect the body physically. I dedicated a whole chapter on this topic in my new book as well. So that's what many people need to take into consideration. We're human. We're going to feel different shifts and emotions, and we should embrace them, recognize them, and then know that we must let them go. Let them work their way through us. We're human. We're going to feel anger, fear, and those types of issues, but then not holding on to them with fervor, not allowing them to poison our bodies, because what happens is it acts as a root. So the emotion that we're holding on to for years and years and years here in the subconscious acts as if a root has embedded itself within our bodies, and then the body responds. And then we start having physical challenges. That is what happens in most cases, and very much the premise of what Chinese medicine focuses on, in some realms of also holistic medicine. So that's the correlation I would love that listener to really contemplate on, sit with herself, look within herself, and try to find where that issue began before 2006.
Okay.
The issue of needing a kidney transplant is not something that happened overnight.
Right.
It is something that most likely, yes, as we know in naturopathic medicine, took about 7 to 10 years to develop. So I would say to our beautiful listener here, that if it happened in 2006, what was going on 1999, 1998, 1997? What was going on in your world, dear listener? What was going on in your realm that made you feel fearful? And maybe you were holding on to some unresolved forgiveness issues towards a person or persons in your life. That's where it began.
Wow. Good information there. Now, let's transition over, because she mentioned a couple of types of medicine that she's currently on. And you also mentioned that she should not come off of those, that she could incorporate something natural. Let's talk about that, because a lot of people tend to get a misconception when it comes to over-the-counter meds and then bringing in something holistic. Talk to us about that, and give us a good information as to why she should continue with the medicine and then incorporate something natural.
Okay, so the metformin that she is on, she will be able, with her doctor, to notice that she will be able to start to wean off of that if she modifies that diet and most definitely removes that beef from her diet. I must say it. I had to say it. There you go. I said it. I mean, I understand she's not, I feel like you said she's not eating fried foods. She's avoiding chicken. But, you know, my dear, you're intaking beef 3 times a week. And we're talking about something that is taking your body itself 3 days to digest. Let me just give you a very funky visual, that if you have a bowel movement and you do not flush and you just cover up the toilet and come back in 3 days and uncover that lid, that is exactly the way that red meat ferments in the colon. It takes 3 days for a person to digest red meat. So what is that doing to your body? You're maintaining toxins, you're maintaining poisons. The blood is not going to flow the same. And so how can your body filter sugars to help you with the sugar imbalance? How is it going to filter fats? How is it going to help for you to intake that sort of food? So that's one, which she will notice a huge difference when she makes that change as far as her glucose levels. Okay. So the metformin, I want her to know that if she works along with her doctor and she uses this sort of supplementation, she will be able to wean slowly off of it. There's a way that I help my patients wean off of that sort of medication because I don't want their bodies to be addicted to a chemical agent just to function normally. However, the other 2 meds that she did mention, the Prograf and the Cellcept, was it?
Yes.
Okay, those are so that her body does not reject the kidney that she's received through the transplant. Obviously, it didn't come from her own body, and there's always that risk of that person's cells having some sort of an immune reaction and rejecting the organ that they've just received in a transplant. So that is something that, unfortunately, conventional medicine says she will need for the rest of her life. And that's where we need to look at, and I believe that truly both realms of medicine do need to exist. However, you know, conventional medicine is looked at as tragic medicine. It does not cure or prevent disease. So it's for tragic moments as this, a tragedy of needing a new organ, the tragedy of possibly rejecting it and needing to be on that medication. Okay.
Great, great. Source Nation, you are watching Healthy Living, airing live here on SRN Live Television. Tonight's conversation was all about the kidneys. We actually received a letter from a Source Nation family member, and thank you again for submitting the information and allowing Dr. Julissa and I to speak on this matter. Dr. Julissa, let's talk about, if you don't mind, we know that she received a kidney transplant and she had some concerns in reference to her glucose. And she also mentioned some of the things that she's eating. You know, I always love to talk about how do we incorporate foods into our diets, healthy foods, as well as beginning to strengthen our bodies. Because I'm assuming, of course, I have not received a kidney transplant, nor have anyone in my family. So I can assume that it takes a little time to build back the strength, but I know that you can incorporate some form of exercise. Let's talk about that, if you don't mind, with our family members as well.
Regarding the exercise and
exercising and as well as building that healthy diet back up.
Most definitely, I love walking as a good exercise for any of my elder patients. She's 72. I'm not going to expect her to run 10 miles a day. So anything mild. I don't recommend running or jogging. I don't like that constant pressure on the knees, my opinion, of course. So at her age, I would love for her to do brisk walking. Some slight speed walking would be absolutely ideal for her. Even some mild, very mild beginner yoga would be great for her joints and so on, because it will ground her and it will help balance her. And just from working with Chinese medicine, when I'm confronted with patients that have kidney challenges, they tend to be very emotional. They tend to have slight mood shifts. If I'm seeing emotional imbalances, that's the water energy. It's just what Chinese medicine teaches us. Mood swings are very common in those that tend to have imbalances of their water energy. So I would love something like Tai Chi or yoga for her to incorporate that's going to keep her at a balanced flow. You know, a storm at sea can be very violent, while calm waters are very peaceful. So I would want that to start to incorporate itself within her. So that's as far as exercise. Light weight training, if she wanted to do so, no more than 2-pound weights, 5-pound, anything to build up her bones. If the kidneys have suffered, the structural system also suffers. So bones, joints, and so on are very much dominated by the health of the kidneys as well. Again, that's Chinese medicine. So that would help a great deal. Now, what would help her as far as a diet that is mainly vegetarian. Most definitely. A diet that is mainly vegetarian, low in starch, and protein is best to prevent even kidney stones. So just had a kidney, yes, just because she's had a kidney transplant, I already know that there's a tendency for imbalances there she needs to prevent. And if she keeps eating that beef, she will develop kidney stones. I mean, it's just, she's risking it. So dark green vegetables, I love for people with kidney challenges to incorporate things like lemons, limes, and grapefruits. All of these are alkaline to help her with that high acidity, which contributes to her high sugar levels. And so it'll also prevent her from forming any stones in the kidney. So again, lemons, limes, and grapefruits. Love, love, love that for her. And again, the dark green vegetables, great. Parsley, of the dark green vegetables that are amazing for the kidneys. Tell her to keep continuing that broccoli, great. Love corn silk, love horsetail herb. Those types of teas are also wonderful. And things that she needs to eliminate. She said she's not eating fried foods, but sugary foods will do it, and they'll weaken the kidneys. Caffeine foods as well, and that would be intaking high amounts of chocolate, which has natural caffeine in it. I don't recommend that she drink coffee at all because it's a burden on her kidneys. And of course, sodas and all carbonated beverages. Anything with bubbles, my dear, we must stay away from if you have kidney challenges. So all of these impede the kidney from actually filtering waste
Okay.
So again, dairy foods she needs to avoid. Clogging and mucus formation within the body. And lastly, I'll end with this. A lot of people that tend to have kidney challenges, again, because everything's interconnected, may have some digestive issues and feel like they have acid problems when they eat. And studies show that that famous product Tums, that antacid, increases the risk for kidney stone formation. So, my dear, stay away from that as well.
Okay. Great information tonight, Dr. Julissa, for sharing with us on that. As we are wrapping up tonight's conversation, talk to us, if you will, some of the things that you have seen in reference to patients that you've treated with kidney problems, or maybe some that have come in and had a kidney transplant. Can you share that information with us as we're closing out?
Sure, sure, sure. There are three specific signs, and I'll share that in the article that I'll share with all of you after the show. There are specific signs that the body specifically needs, for example, a kidney stone cleanse, a kidney cleanse in general. First of that is a distended abdomen. So
Okay.
for you out there that have that belly that protrudes above the belt, you may be wearing the same belt that you wore in high school, but now we're talking about you having probably pushed that belly up and over. Okay? So a distended abdomen is very much an indication that the kidneys are not functioning the same. I mean, the body just gives us signs. Second, women who have anemia and heavy menstrual bleeding, there's a correlation between that and kidney stone formation.
Wow.
Okay. We don't know what it is, but I can tell you actually that Chinese medicine also teaches us that the kidneys are the residents of the loins. So in my new book, I discuss in great detail as well how the kidneys need to be strengthened if we're going to strengthen reproductive system. So yes, that correlation is there. And lastly, if you in your blood work with your doctors have been told that you are deficient in vitamin K, which is very much needed for clotting, then you most likely need to truly focus on the kidneys. There may be some kidney stone formation, or most definitely the kidneys need some cleansing.
Awesome. Great information you have shared. Also, to Dr. Julissa, as we're closing out, we always like to leave either with some encouraging word, which you've given us some great information, but encouraging word, or maybe something for us, tips and advice that we need to do to continue to have healthy kidneys.
I can tell you that it feels alarming to encounter patients that have actually shared with me that something as pure and clean as water makes them nauseous. That something as pure as that just lets me know if that makes them nauseous, then they're very toxic, and that most likely an infection has set in the kidneys that is underlying, because nausea, vomiting, fever, and chills is very much an indication of underlying infection within the kidneys. So know that dehydration is a big factor, a key factor in kidney stone formation and kidney health. And so please, please drink enough water according to your weight. Half of your body weight in ounces is the ideal amount of water that each of us should be intaking. So if you're 150 pounds, 75 ounces of water, for example, is the amount of water that you should be intaking during the day. Please do that during the day. Don't try to get it all in right before bed. You'll be stressing out the bladder and getting up various times in the middle of the night while that bladder is holding on to that fluid. Do it in the daytime. Don't stop drinking water. Juice is not a substitute. And I would say that that's one of those #1 tips I needed to share about that.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Julissa, again, thank you so much for coming in tonight and giving us some valuable information on tonight's conversation, which was all about the kidney. So thank you again. If you will, please share with Source Nation, how can we get more information about you and continue to support you in your efforts?
Thank you once again for having me, Kathy. Well, you can all find my information at drjulissa.com. That's drjulissa.com. And you can find my new book, The Naturopathic Approach to Fertility, on Amazon, and now in audiobook on Audible as well. And I look forward to being here again with all of you again next week, Kathy.
Awesome. Thank you again, Source Nation. Thank you so much for watching SRN Live Television with Dr. Julissa. You've been watching live right here on Healthy Living. Of course, tonight's conversation was all about the kidneys. What I love most about the conversation was the fact that we were able to give our listening family member some great information in reference to how she can continue to build her kidneys and continue to take the medicine that she is prescribed by her physician, but yet she can incorporate a holistic way of treating her kidneys. So I love that. I also love the fact that Dr. Julissa mentioned that she can still incorporate some form of light exercising. And far as her diet, continue to eat that broccoli, but add some more green leafy vegetables into the diet, and just continue to live your best life. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to read your letter here on SRN Live Healthy Living. One thing that I will say, Source Nation, when it comes to this particular program, it's all about making sure that you are living your best life, your best healthy life in a holistic way. And we so much appreciate Dr. Julissa for being here and part of our family for quite some time and giving us this great information. Please reach out to her. Her information is out on Facebook. She's here every single Thursday. So definitely send in your emails just as you did done here, and we can answer them here live. If not, contact her personally. Again, thank you so much for watching Healthy Living right here on SRN Live Television. Join us back here again next week for more great information right here on Healthy Living. You all be blessed. Good night.
Get at me for beats, y'all.